Yeah, immigration detention is not meant to be a sentencing. Rather, it's a hold on someone until a judge can get to their case. But these holds are lasting months and even years in some cases. Is this constitutional? Does it violate basic human rights? These questions we learned remain unanswered even at the highest level.
Leche.
Ricardo Jr. is 2 years old. He's getting to know words.
¿Qué quieres? La luz.
And numbers.
One. One.
But still has lots to learn.
So he doesn't know his dad, huh?
No, he don't know. He just knows mommy. It's, for me, it feels like very hard. It's like very difficult.
Miles from the family's East Oakland home at a detention facility in Richmond is Lilia Perez's husband, Ricardo Jr.'s father. Two Investigates was granted a 30-minute interview with Ricardo Mercado Sr. Behind a 1-inch glass, his voice barely audible through vents, he says he's been detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement for nearly half his son's life.
I was like another day, every day I was happy to go to work. I go inside the car, and then the officer came to me. He just told me, you're gonna go with the ICE.
Did you get a chance to say goodbye to your wife and your children?
No. I don't want to see my kids crying.
What makes Mercado's immigration case different from others is that he's not just arguing his legal status. He's arguing the legality of his detention. ICE twice has extended Mr. Mercado's detention, finding his single DUI committed on Christmas Eve of 2006 renders him a danger to the community. This father of 3, who's maintained a stable job and coaches soccer, wants his case re-reviewed for bail to at least, he says, await his sentencing with his family.
I want to go back with them.
After almost a year.
The bills, you see. He sold me the bills.
And over $10,000 in legal fees most other detainees and their families can't afford, Mercado still sits in a cell. What do you want to say to people who think you're undocumented here, this is what happens?
To the people like me, we can have an opportunity to be in this country because we just want to work and try to get a better future for the family.
Mercado isn't alone. He's become part of the largest immigration detention infrastructure in the world. There are 112 detention facilities across the U.S., 4 in Northern California. In 2016, ICE booked more than 350,000 detainees. In 2017, more than 320,000. So far this year, more than half that average has been recorded at ICE facilities.
That's hundreds of thousands of people impacted by a recent Supreme Court ruling saying the federal government has the authority to detain people for long periods of time without granting them bail hearings. Before, those hearings fell under a lower court's ruling requiring judges to review someone's case every 6 months.
The United States Supreme Court reversed that.
Erwin Chemerinsky is dean and a constitutional law scholar at Berkeley Law. How is it constitutional that right now people could be detained indefinitely?
I don't think it's constitutional to have indefinite detention without a hearing to determine the person's dangerous or flight risk. But it ultimately comes down to what a majority of the Supreme Court will hold. All the Supreme Court has decided is the federal statute allows such prolonged detention. Whether that's constitutional is yet to be resolved by the Supreme Court.
Two Investigates reached out to ICE numerous times. Officials consistently declined on-camera interviews. In a statement, ICE's deputy director said, "I am incredibly pleased with the Supreme Court's ruling. This decision clarifies detention authorities and is an important first step in addressing dangerous judicial decisions eroding laws enacted by Congress." During the course of our reporting, a judge decided Mercado is eligible for bail. We were with Perez when she heard the news.
Oh my God. I can't believe it.
She's like my sister. finally she make it happen, you know. God bless America. It's a great thing, justice for all.
Two investigators learn Mercado's case is an exception to what's going on a larger scale, one of only a handful in the Bay Area. When asked if she believes her family's nightmare is over, Perez says she isn't sure.
So I hope so.
Perez still needs to get the $5,000 she needs to post bail for her husband. She hopes to get that soon. In terms of the law that allows for indefinite detentions, the question of whether it's constitutional or not is now with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and that process can take years to resolve.
It must be costing a fortune to house all of these people in detention centers. Is there any incentive for the government to get things moving, to get bail granted, which presumably would be much cheaper if they're out on bail because you wouldn't have to pay for their detention?
It's very expensive to taxpayers. You and me, everyone here who pays taxes, detaining people costs millions of dollars a day for taxpayers here in the U.S., and that's why some argue I should only go after those with criminal records. At the end of the day, though, the federal government, the president's administration, has broad power when it comes to immigration enforcement.
All right, Candice Nguyen, thank you so much.